So the Chiefs are firing on all cylinders and, in the eyes of basically everybody, have the upper hand against the Commanders on Monday Night Football, even though Washington's getting back some firepower for their offense. It's also worth noting KC's getting pretty thin at a couple position groups in particular, and that's why they're bringing back a fan favorite from the preseason. Then we got a bit of clarity on a timeline to return for Josh Simmons, an updated injury report, and more. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? All right, so yesterday, Andy Reid gave a very positive update on the Chiefs' rookie left tackle, Josh Simmons. It was really the first real update we've heard other than it's a personal matter and Brett Veach is handling all that. What Andy Reid said yesterday was a definite change in tune when he said this to open his presser. Quote, "My update for you with Josh would be, there's been communication. I'm not going to get into all of it, but everything's positive. It's not a negative situation." And the last thing that he said after that was, he's taking care of family. So there you go. We now officially know it's a family situation and don't need to follow any wild speculative theories that were kind of being thrown out there. Andy was later asked if he had a timeline to return for Simmons, who again is not practicing this week and is probably not going to be playing. And Big Red, he didn't really answer it, but he did give an encouraging answer at least. Quote, "It's been positive. He's taking care of business." So that's the main thing right here. When you deal with this, that's what you do, and he's been very good about communicating it. So there has at least been very good communication between Simmons and the team. Doesn't seem to be a negative situation with Andy Reid literally saying it's a positive thing, and therefore, this is just my opinion here, we do see Simmons return here in the next couple of weeks. My thoughts have been, if they believed Simmons was going to be away from the team for quite some time, they would have placed him on the NFI list where he would then have to miss a minimum of 4 games. And right before I was about to export this video, we did get a little bit of clarity on Josh Simmons and an expected timeline to return. So it's no longer just me guessing. Nate Taylor of ESPN said rookie left tackle Josh Simmons is expected to rejoin the team in a few weeks. Sources told ESPN the reasonable expectation is sometime around the bye week. So you've got the Commanders on Monday Night Football, then the Bills, and then the Chiefs bye week. And I have no idea if he'll actually then, if he does return, then let's say he does, if he'll actually start that next week against the Denver Broncos, or they'll kind of ramp him up because he's been away from the team by that point for quite some time. But that's at least a rough estimated timeline to return. Now, regardless of when exactly Simmons returns, I'm just glad to know he's okay, and whatever family situation he's going through, things appear to at least be trending in a positive direction. Well, that means Jalen Moore is most likely up again on Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders, and it also seems like Mike Caliendo will once again be filling in for Trey Smith, who left pretty early on in the Raiders game with a back issue. Now, Caliendo, he filled in pretty well. He allowed 0 pressures on 32 pass blocking snaps, and hopefully that trend continues on Monday. For Trey Smith, Andy Reid called his injury back spasms, and with him now not practicing at all 2 days in a row, if you look at the injury report here, you can see Trey Smith was a DNP both Thursday and Friday, as well as Josh Simmons. It's safe to say Mike Caliendo is at least trending to get the start at right guard on Monday night. Obviously, things can change with the last practice being tomorrow, but even if Trey practices in a limited capacity, I wouldn't be surprised to see him listed as questionable or doubtful and Caliendo be the next man up against the Commanders. Caliendo is no Trey Smith, to be clear, but again, he played pretty well last week against the Raiders, and I know Max Crosby left the game in the second quarter, which helped out the offensive line as a whole, but the Commanders are also down their top pass rusher in Dorrance Armstrong. He had 5.5 sacks on the year, with the guy in second being the 36-year-old veteran Von Miller. Miller's also second on the team in pressures with 17, only behind Armstrong, with Jacob Martin and Deron Payne being close behind with 16 and 15 pressures themselves. It is worth noting, though, that Payne hasn't practiced at all so far this week with a toe injury, so if he can't go, they're down their top pass rusher and one of their top defensive tackles as well. All in all, I think Mahomes should, for the most part, be fine back there in the pocket. He has the lowest pressure rate among all quarterbacks in the NFL right now, helped in part by him having the fastest time to throw at just 2.56 seconds. That's barely ahead of Dylan Gabriel, Aaron Rodgers, and Spencer Rattler. Well, that means he's often hitting his first or second read, being confident in his decision, and also just trusting his receivers as a whole. Great things there. Obviously, the offense is moving, averaging 32 points per game over the last 4 weeks. Now, just because Mahomes is hitting his first and second read a lot, he's still fantastic at going off script, extending plays, and using his legs to pick up first downs. He's been doing that more than normal this year, scrambling more than any other quarterback in the league, and he's second at picking up first downs with his legs, only behind Jalen Hurts. The run game for KC has been looking better as well. And I will note, since we're talking running backs real quick here, Kareem Hunt did not practice yesterday with an ankle, but was upgraded to limited today. So he's at least trending in a positive direction. We'll see if he plays or not. If he doesn't go, the running back room obviously takes a hit, and maybe you'll see Elijah Mitchell actually dress out. That remains to be seen, but the beat reporters that attended practice today said Kareem Hunt and Jalen Watson were both moving around and looking fine. Regardless if Kareem Hunt plays or not, the Commanders are a pretty good team at stopping the run, so I think the Chiefs are going to air this one out a little bit more than even their normal pass-happy selves. You can do extensions of the run game with quick passes, screens, jet sweeps, all that other extensions of the run game. But Washington's secondary is really struggling out there, and they are currently dead last in yards per pass allowed at 8.3 yards a pop. As a whole, they are allowing an average of 364.3 yards per game. That's 27th in the NFL. And in every loss this year, they have allowed an average of 32.5 points per game. Well, as I said just a bit ago, that is the average, or about the average, the Chiefs' offense has been scoring over the last month, being one of the most aggressive and successful short yardage teams in the league on third and fourth downs. They extend drives time and time again, eat up time of possession, and score points more times than not, and that in turn helps the defense out quite a bit as well. Next up, I do want to talk about Rashee Rice's role in the offense, or at least what to expect this week. What the heck is going on with Kristian Fulton and Washington looking to, hopefully for them at least, get their top 2 receivers back for this game. But first, in today's world, I know it can be tough to get all the nutrients that your body needs, and that's where the sponsor of today's video, Grunes, is here to help. Grunes are a convenient, comprehensive formula packed into a snack pack a day. It's not a multivitamin, a greens gummy, or a prebiotic. It's actually all of those things and then some at a fraction of the price. And bonus, it tastes great. Hello. It's actually impressive that it tastes that good. Oh, and the reason there's a full snack pack is because you can't fit the amount of nutrients they do into just one gummy. Plus, it makes for a fun treat. And not every supplement, vitamin, or greens powder doses ingredients effectively. Meanwhile, Grunes is methylated, which is fancy talk for our vitamins like B12 and folate can actually be absorbed by your body. It helps that their products don't contain common allergies. You can see the list of them all on the screen. And then just look at their nutrition label. Vitamins are at 100% and minerals are at around 25%, a safe and effective amount. The research shows gummies are more absorbable than tablets, and over 35,000 research publications support the ingredients in Grunes. And with over 20 vitamins and minerals and 60 ingredients, which include nutrient-dense and whole foods, this has been a great addition to my daily life, and you can get up to 52% off by clicking the link in the description or pinned comment down below. All right, so Matt Nagy was asked about Rashee Rice's snaps this week and how much they expect him to play, and Nagy said it would be similar to the Raiders game, if not more. It's tough to come back from 6 weeks away and then immediately play 60 snaps out there, but they'll give him as much as he can handle and wants to go. Quote, as much as we can get him in there and keep him in, we'll do that. Obviously, having Worthy and Rice has really helped take this offense to the next level, even though Mahomes is kind of spreading the ball all around. I believe 7 different players have 250 or more yards from scrimmage, which is pretty cool, the most in the NFL right now. Nagy shared they are focusing on remaining consistent, continuing to focus on all the little details. Even though the offense is high-flying and doing really well right now, you don't want to lose focus, and you have to execute each and every play at a high level. This is a very game-to-game league, and every play must be executed, or the opposing team can obviously make you pay. Well, that's exactly why I expect Mahomes to come out with home field advantage at Arrowhead and do just that, spreading the ball all around at a very high level. I actually felt comfortable with Rice's line on underdog, 4.5 receptions, hit the higher on that, as well as Mahomes hitting the higher on 1.5 passing touchdowns. But outside of that, anybody else can kind of see the ball in this game. Kelsey, Worthy, Brashard Smith in the screen game, Juju, as well as Hollywood Brown. It's a very good problem to have. I mean, the receiving room is arguably the deepest it's ever been, and Mahomes has trust in just about everybody out there that I mentioned, as well as Tyquan Thornton deep downfield, who just caught a pass for 39 yards against the Raiders. And speaking of deep plays, the Commanders have given up 14 passing plays of 25 or more yards. That's fourth most in the league, so I would not be surprised to see Mahomes take some shots deep down the field. Then if we flip sides of the ball, Marcus Mariota, their QB2, is going to be getting the start, with Jaden Daniels already being ruled out of this game with a hamstring injury. Mariota is 1-1 this season as a starter, with a higher PFF grade than Patrick Mahomes and Jaden Daniels, so he's obviously playing at a very high level. PFF jokes aside, he does complement the offense well, talking about Mariota with a similar play style to Jaden Daniels. He's not afraid to use his legs either. He's ran for 20 or more yards in every game that he's played in, which is why I hit his higher on 19.5 rushing yards, but he can throw too. He's got 3 touchdowns and 2 picks on the year, with one of those being a pretty costly pick 6 last week in Washington's 22-44 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. In fact, the Commanders have actually lost 3 of their last 4 games and are at 3-4 on the year, and they're really going to want to get a win on Monday night. Something that could help them try to accomplish that is going to be having 2 key guys return on offense, with that being Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel. Not guaranteed that they're going to play, but they were both full participants today at practice, and they're at least trending in that direction. They do have a talented tight end in Zach Ertz, the savvy vet, who has the second most targets on the team and 4 receiving touchdowns, but Deebo didn't play last week with a heel injury, and Scary Terry has been out since week 3 with a quad injury. He did tell the media today, though, that he feels like himself again out there, so I'm sure that if he can play, he will, and has a pretty good chance of doing so. Well, he will obviously be a guy KC's defense must keep eyes on. He is a downfield threat, and a very good one at that. Deebo, meanwhile, is trending to play also, as I just mentioned, and he leads the team in targets, receptions, yards, and is tied for second in receiving touchdowns. I get that Mariota isn't Jaden Daniels, but if you get 2 of your top receivers back, it's only going to help. I do think Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, who was limited in practice yesterday, full participant today, and should play on Monday Night Football, combined with Noel Williams plus the safeties. If you have all those guys out there, I think they're going to keep a lid on most of the explosive plays, and depending on who McDuffie lines up against, he's going to handle whoever that is for the most part as well. On the subject of the secondary, many Chiefs fans, including myself, have been wondering what the heck is going on with Kristian Fulton. The guy signed a 2-year, $20 million deal this offseason and has been a healthy and active, a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks. Well, Spags was asked about that today, and he said it's a hard thing for Kristian right now. He's getting there health-wise, but you've lost all the practice time and reps. Meanwhile, Noel Williams has gotten in there and done a really nice job. But he does tell Fulton to be ready every single week, because inevitably you'll need multiple different corners as the season goes on. Spags just can't get him the volume of reps that he needs right now at practice, so they're sticking with where they are at, which tells me we may very well see Fulton inactive once again on Monday night. Part of the reason, to me at least, that this keeps happening is because Fulton doesn't play special teams, so it's hard to justify a team dressing out their 4th cornerback on defense, but he doesn't play any special teams at all. So for now, Joshua Williams has been kind of that guy and playing primarily on special teams. So we'll see what's up with Fulton. Maybe he'll get traded, but I think he's better kept around as valuable veteran depth with a bigger role to play if, God forbid, injuries hit the room, or sometime during the 2026 NFL season, with multiple cornerbacks right now on the last year of their rookie deal. This is a good problem to have, though, because they have depth at the left tackle spot, definitely when Simmons returns, as well as cornerback, and that was 2 positions they needed depth at last year due to injuries. Now, someone we won't see again until the 2026 season is the 2nd-round rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman-Lott. He tore his ACL last week against the Raiders, and Chris Jones said that even though he was a young player, they asked Omar Norman-Lott to do a lot, and Chris shared that Omar was just starting to open up more one-on-one opportunities for him. Spags noted the loss of Omar is tough because he provided juice along the interior and was just starting to catch on after working through a couple of minor injuries earlier on in the season. Well, now he's out for the entire season, so Spags said they're going to need more juice, or just more in general, out of Jerry Tillery and Derek Nottie, and even lean on the defensive ends, kicking inside a bit here and there. Minihue and Dana can both do that from time to time, though with the trade deadline less than 2 weeks away, I would be very surprised if the Chiefs didn't go out and make a trade of some sort, whether it's defensive end, defensive tackle. That remains to be seen. The weakness is definitely along the interior. You've only got Chris Jones, Jerry Tillery, and Derek Nottie on the active roster right now. For this week, though, I think Marlon Tuipulotu gets called up, and that's who they roll with or what they roll with defensive tackle-wise for Monday. On the subject of the D-line, they will need to stop the run game as best they can out of Washington or do their best to limit it, because something interesting about their offense is they average 5.4 yards per rush attempt. That's actually first in the NFL. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill, is averaging 5.2 yards a pop himself, and over the last 3 games, he's rushing around 15 times for 68 yards. So priority number 1 for the Chiefs defense, don't let them get the run game going. Spags said exactly that in his presser today. Their focus will be stopping their run attack because Bill is great at breaking tackles. If the Chiefs can do that, and it would be helped in part if the offense puts up points early and forces Washington to be a bit more one-dimensional, that could be the ideal game plan here, even if things are more difficult for the Chiefs defense with the return or the hopeful return for Commanders fans of Scary Terry and Deebo Samuel and them running routes out there. Terry will at least be a little rusty for what that's worth, and Mariota will be under some pressure in a hostile environment. That is Arrowhead Stadium. I don't think this guy is going to be catching his own touchdown passes in this one. And there's a reason why the Chiefs are heavily favored to win this game by, I think it's like 10 or 11 points right now. And everybody essentially is picking the Chiefs to win. Sure, they have to play a clean game, but I think there's a good chance if they are firing on all cylinders that KC wins this one by kind of a crazy score. I have it 30-13, maybe 30-20 with a late touchdown coming from the Commanders. Of course, anything can happen. You can't sleepwalk past this team thinking about the Buffalo Bills for their next matchup, but I really do feel good about this game. The offense is humming. Rice is back. The O-line is stout, even if Caliendo is the one filling in for Trey Smith. Dorrance Armstrong is out for the season on Washington's D-line. They might be down one of their top defensive tackles. Their secondary is vulnerable, and Spags should have a great game plan for Mariota and company on that side of the ball, even if, again, Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel are back. And before I get out of here, the Chiefs are making a roster move to a position group that is a bit light right now with Josh Simmons away. You basically have Jalen Moore and Jawan Taylor as your left and right tackle. After that, it's Wanye Morris. And then with Ethan Driscoll out on the NFI list after needing his appendix removed, you have Jason Godric on the practice squad. Well, some good news here. The Chiefs are going to be bringing back fan favorite Esa Pole, who through 3 games in the preseason allowed 0 pressures, a real standout guy that many people wanted the Chiefs to keep around and develop for the future, right? Well, the Chiefs wanted him to as well, but when they let him go, the Jets claimed him on the waiver wire, but they recently, yesterday, waived him from their 53-man roster, and the plan right now is for Esa Pole to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs to their practice squad. And since they just recently signed Kevin Knowles from the practice squad to the active roster after placing Omar Norman-Law on IR, they actually have a practice squad spot open. So if all goes according to plan, I believe per Charles Goldman of VIDS Sports, among others, he's flying into Kansas City with the intent on signing with the team tomorrow. So he should fill that last practice squad spot. He wouldn't be ready to go tomorrow or anything crazy or Monday Night Football for the game or anything like that, but you are shoring up some depth while Josh Simmons is away, and a lot of fans are very pleased and happy about that. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below, as well as your thoughts on how this game on Monday Night Football should play out or could play out. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?